Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of AIM, where we agitate, innovate, and motivate so that you can be great. Today, I want to break down my favorite poem. We really need to have this mindset. As an exercise in public speaking, I had my students in every class that I taught, 10th graders, 8th graders, 12th graders, I had them do a presentation on this poem. They had to memorize it, and they had to write down their favorite part of the poem and then say why that was their favorite part. So I'm going to do that exercise myself because so many of us are walking around talented, beautiful, and you're hiding it because other people are treating you mean about it. I have so many stories about that with myself and other people. You can't stop letting your light shine because somebody else is mad about it. What are you going to do? You're going to stop being smart because somebody else is mad about it. You're going to cut your face up and throw lye on it because somebody else is mad because you're attractive. You're going to cut all your hair off and put marks all over your scalp because somebody else is mad about it. We have to let our light shine because when we do that, we give other people permission. I'm going to go through the poem and then I'm going to go back to my favorite part and some other parts of the poem, and I'm going to talk about why that's my favorite part, and we're going to break this down because we desperately need to be ourselves and stop letting haters dim our lights. Well, if I do this, I'm not going to fit in. I've seen people do it. I heard people say it out loud, and I watched them walk in it, and I thought it was pretty sad. God will bring you people who are not trying to dim your light, who are not jealous, who are not haters, if you let the other ones go. We so stuck in familiarity and how we want everybody to receive us, and we want to belong. That's the human being's greatest need, is to belong. That is why we have all these fraternities and groups and clubs, and it's okay. Of course you want to belong. If we don't socialize, as we've seen with these experiments, these kids who weren't touched and fed, and well, not even the feeding, but just weren't touched, they died. We have to have human contact. So it's nothing wrong with it. Where the problem comes in is that if you're willing to be around people who do not serve you well, who are treating you mean, who are lying on you, who are cheating on you, who are dogging you out just for the sake of having some friends, just for the sake of having a companion, because what that's doing is destroying your self-esteem from the inside out, because now you're questioning yourself. Well, how come I wasn't good enough? Especially when it comes to the opposite sex. Men feel that way, women feel that way. So this poem, to me, when I first read it, I was like, oh my God, it was decades ago. I was like, this is so powerful. And then when I started teaching, I said, I'm going to make sure I teach this to all my students, because there's so many people shrinking so that they can fit in. So here we go. Our deepest fear. And y'all remember this poem was on Coach Carter, A Killer and the Bee, and it might be another one, but I know of those two for sure. Because when they're trying to teach these kids to be at their best, they use this poem. But it doesn't have to be children. Grown folks need it too. So here we go. Our deepest fear. Now, there's some controversy about whether or not Marianne Williamson or Nelson Mandela wrote the poem. So credit to either one. And then I saw where Marianne wrote the poem, but Nelson Mandela recited it in his inaugural speech. So I don't know if he wrote it and then he spoke it, or if she spoke it. It doesn't matter. The poem is powerful. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. As we let our light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That is so good. Now I'm going to break this whole thing down. When it says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, most of us know we are good at something. Our deepest fear is that if we get too powerful, we got to deal with them haters. We got to deal with folks coming for us. Nobody bothers anybody that's not doing anything. Who cares about them? Why is a burglar going to break in somebody's house who the front door already tore up, the screen tore up, ain't no furniture in there, they walking around looking crazy and broke? What's somebody going to break in their house for? They're going to break into houses where it look like there's something in there worth breaking in there for, right? So it's the same thing. Nobody comes for you if you have absolutely nothing going on. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. Oh my, I don't want to. I had a gentleman tell me, we were playing a whole bunch of different board games and I won them all. And he said, you got to let people win if you want people to continue to play with you. Well, I wouldn't want somebody to let me win, because by you continuing to play at your level and your game, you're teaching me to come up. But that's not how everybody thinks. He literally told me I have to let him win. I said, I can teach you how to play the game and how I think, because once I show you my hand, I got to elevate in order to continue to beat you. So I'm helping myself. That's how I think. But that is not how most people think. They try to hide their goodness and their smartness and their anointing and their just anything that's positive about them from other people so that they can fit in. Okay? You ask yourself, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Well, how are you really going to turn that off? I've seen people literally play dumb in class because people beat up the smart kid. So they're going to act like they don't know. They're not going to raise their hand. They're not going to answer anything. I've taught those kids and I sat in classroom with those kids. And I know the backlash you get because I'm answering my questions and I'm getting my answers right. I'm not worried about that. But as I said on another video, people actually wanted to fight me. I'm talking about grown folks in college and in seminary. And I'm like, this is crazy. But did I stop being who I am? No. I invited the haters to my house and taught them how to be a student, and their grades went up, the ones that came. That's what I did. Because you're not going to make me turn into a B, C, D, or F student so you can feel better. Why would I do that to myself? But people do it all the time. And one of the reasons why they do it is because they don't believe this. We all have the glory of God in us. We all have talents. God has given everybody a talent. You so worried about somebody else's talent, you can't go work on your own. Some people are just really good at convincing people of stuff. Go be a salesman or a saleswoman. Go be a salesperson. Go do something with that gift. You so busy trying to destroy somebody else's life, you can't even live your own. Now, this is my favorite line in the poem. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. And also, as we let our own light shine, we consciously and unconsciously give people permission to do the same. Have y'all ever been out, and I know you have, and your jam is on, right? But you won't get up and dance because nobody else is on the floor. As soon as one person gets up or one couple gets up, everybody gets up. Y'all seen that over and over again. I know you have, because I have. This is an example of that. I am being myself. I am being talented. I'm being fabulous. This is my jam. I'm not going to get up and dance to my favorite song because somebody else is going to get mad or somebody else isn't up yet. I have to follow. I can't lead. When my jam come on, I ain't thought about nothing else. I'm on the floor. And I know a lot of people who are like that. They're not thinking about what you're doing and what you're saying. So if that applies to a dance floor, it applies to your life. So you're sitting in class with all the answers and you won't share them because the people who don't have the answers are going to get upset with you. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking because you're shrinking. I literally worked at a law firm, and me and one of the other attorneys dressed very well. We came to work clean and sharp. To me, like a lawyer's supposed to look, right? You need to look the part, talk the part, act the part, and know the part, right? That it's the whole package in my mind. So this young lady and I were the newest lawyers coming into the law firm. We got kind of hired together maybe a week apart or something like that. They called us in the office and said, y'all don't need to. They, other attorneys, black female attorneys, called us into the office and said, y'all don't need to dress like that around here because we don't do all that. Now, meanwhile, she got on whatever that was. You know, I wouldn't have never looked at her. I wouldn't have wanted her to go in the courtroom with me looking like that. I will say that. Well, the other attorney, you got all these suits and shoes and fabulous stuff in your closet. She would not wear it anymore because she wanted to fit in. I'm not getting ready to stop wearing my suits that I done spent all this money for. That's what I brought them for. I brought them because I'm a lawyer and I'm going to court and I'm getting ready to be in a law firm. I'm getting ready to interview clients. And I went out here and brought me a whole new wardrobe so I can look like a lawyer. I'm going to not wear that because an old girl, where they doing that at? Apparently they doing it all over the place. Really? So I just spent X amount of dollars on this suit. I done bought the jewelry to go with it. I done bought the blouse to go with it. I done bought the shoes to go with it. And now I can't wear it because old girl gonna feel insecure and feel like somebody trying to one up her. Ain't nobody thinking about you. This is my personality. When I'm in the pulpit, I'm not going up there looking raggedy. I'm going to wear something that looks like it should be worn in the pulpit. I'm not going up there raggedy. When I was coaching track, I wore a lot of nice, and when I'm running track, I wear not a lot of nice Puma, Adidas, Nike, whatever I'm putting on, because why should I look crazy? So somebody else won't feel bad. I tell you what happens every time. Other people start following that. Now other people are putting on nicer things on the track. They're putting on nicer things in the pulpit. They're putting on nicer things on the job. I was teaching, and I would come to work, and the students would ask me, am I the principal? And that's because I walked around nicely dressed and with a natural manifestation of authority, because that's just what it is with a lot of us. It's just there, right? And so I'm not walking around my head down and looking all pitiful. And because I walk with my shoulders back and I walk like I know where I'm going, people get mad about that. Why she walk like that? I didn't even notice that it was a different walk. I was just walking. Somebody tell me, oh, well, that's because she was a Marine. Why are you explaining to somebody about how I'm walking when I'm not even going to explain? Well, it's ridiculous. Like, people have a walk, people have a stride and a glide. I'm just walking. I didn't even know it was an issue until somebody said to me, why you walk like that? And I'm like, walk like what? Like, people paying attention to stupid stuff. I'm not thinking about how you walking. Sit down with that. That's ridiculous. You know, stop bothering people over stuff that don't even make no sense. That's like getting mad at me because I'm black, which people do. That's like getting mad at me because I'm a woman, which people do. What do you want me to do about that? You're telling God that he shouldn't have made me like he made me. God decided you're going to be black, you're going to be a female, you're going to be born in Washington, D.C. These are going to be your parents. These are going to be your sisters. These are going to be your aunts, uncles, cousins. This your grandmama and your granddaddy. How am I supposed to control that? And you mad at me. I literally had somebody mad at me talking about, because why you have a daughter? What? You was a tomboy. I should have had a daughter. Really? Like, people are really carrying it that far. And I'm sitting here like, what do you even say to that nonsense? Now, back in the day, I was trying to defend all of this crap. And then I decided that, you know what, how you going to defend that for real? You know, you can ask them, are they crazy? Or you could just look at them like, and go on about your business. Because even to use your breath's air, and we don't have but so many, on that nonsense is ridiculous. There is nothing enlightening about you shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. When you be yourself, you consciously and unconsciously give people permission to do the same. I'm telling you, when you go and do something, people follow it. Oh, if she can do it. Y'all remember when they said you can't break the 5-minute mile? As soon as it was done, I want to call the name, but I don't want to be wrong. I think I know who was the first person to do it. But as soon as he did it, all of a sudden, people knew it was possible and they started doing it. Y'all remember that? It's like that with everything. Oh, you can't pole vault that high. You can't run that fast until somebody does. Then everybody's doing it, right? So when you allow yourself, I would go in the courtroom and I know my client is guilty. I didn't come in there trying to act like he wasn't guilty. I would go in there and say, Your Honor, my client is guilty, but if anybody had a case that the court should have mercy upon, it's this one. And when I said that, I meant that. I wasn't blowing smoke. If I can't tell too many of the details because I don't want to identify anybody. However, the judge sat back on the bench and said, I would have done the same thing for my mama, and they let that boy go. Now, if I come in there talking about he didn't do it, and everybody knows he did it, I didn't practice law like that. I came in and I tell my client, hey, this is not a good case. I only want to take your money. No, we're going to fight. Okay, well, if you're going to give the money to somebody else anyway, let's go. I'll take the case, but here are the problems with your case. Now, I've said that to several people and still won because the other side didn't handle their business. I had no business winning those cases, but I did my homework and I focused on what I could win. I focused on the elements that were on our side. There's a big difference in the law between and or. If you have to meet the elements 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have to meet all of them. If you have to meet 1, 2, 3, or 4, then you just have to meet one of them. I mean, you want to meet more than one, but there's a huge difference between and or when you handle your cases. And so this was an and. we simply wasn't meeting element 4 and 5. We just couldn't do it. We can't get over that hurdle. I'd have told my client that 100 times. I even showed them the law. Hey, see this? Now let's marry that to the facts. We can get over hurdle 1. We can get over hurdle 2. We can get over hurdle 3. But we're not going to make it over these other ones. But I went in there and I found an argument to make for the other ones. An argument that should not have won. But the other side wasn't prepared because they underestimate the black female. Oh, I don't have to work hard. She new, she black, she a female, and this is an older white man, and he just knew that I wasn't going to handle my business because they said you will never have an adverse possession case in your entire legal career. I had one 2 years in. And I did not run away from it. I did tell my client, this is not a good case, etc., etc. He said, I want to fight anyway because I want to just prove the point and let them know that they're not going to just be coming up in here trying to take my land. If I got to spend money and lose my land, they're going to have to spend money on an attorney. That was his whole, he didn't even care if he won or lost. And we won. We won. Because once he took that position, now I got to go deep and find a way to try to win this thing because I don't like to lose no more than anybody else. I took my winning rate very seriously. So we won. Real difficult hurdles. I got over them because somebody else played me small while I was doing my business and making sure I did right by my client. But I would tell my clients, hey, we might not win this. Now, I have a client who actually might be watching this podcast, and I was sitting at the table doing a case with him, and God said to me, tell him he gonna lose, but he gonna get his kids in a couple of years. And as it turns out, we looked like we were winning. But when God told me that, I told him that. And I said, we're not going to win. Didn't know why. I said, but she's going to turn around and just give you the kids. And this is what happened. He lost his job and his house. God knew that was coming. So he would have had to give the kids back. So instead of going through it, because he was getting ready to move with his father in another state. So instead of him, God allowing him to go through all that with the kids, he made sure that we had a raggedy judge, and he lost. And he told me that we were going to lose, and I told my client we were going to lose. But that was because, see, a loss ain't always a loss. A loss ain't always a loss. Come on, God. That loss was protection. Okay? So we can't always, our thoughts are not his thoughts. Our ways are not his ways. And I said, I don't know why God is saying that, but I'm telling you what he's saying. So there's not this big shock factor because both of us thought we were winning. But at the end of the day, nope. So a year later, I don't even know if it was a whole year later, maybe a year, 2 years. I don't remember the time frame, but it wasn't that long. She called him up and gave him them kids. Just like God said she would. That is why we need to be following the voice of God. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. We have to listen to the voice of God. And when God tells us to do something, we can't be like, oh, I can't, because they're not going to like me. You got people don't want to go out with you because they figure you're going to look better than them. I had a young lady say to me, I like going out with you because I get your leftover men. And I'm like, wow. Then you got the woman who's mad at you because the man trying to talk to you and not them. If I'm out with a woman and a man wants the other woman, that's his choice. I can't get mad because this woman looking at her, but we do it. And so because of that, you got women who say, well, I'm not going to be brilliant. I'm not going to be gorgeous. I'm not going to be talented. I'm not going to be fabulous because then I'm going to lose my girlfriends. Wake up call, If somebody's leaving you because you dressing nice and you look a certain way, that ain't your friend anyway. That's not your friend. I drove 10 hours by myself to be up here for one of my girlfriend's parties, birthday parties. And she mistreated me the whole night. And I couldn't put my finger on it until I heard somebody say, you look better than the birthday girl. Well, people look better than people. You could bring somebody else in here to look better. And I got dogged all night. And not one picture of me is in her photo album of that night. I'm not in there nowhere. So that confirmed for me that she really was thinking like that. And this supposed to be somebody, this was somebody that to me was worth driving 10 hours to surprise her. I'm thinking it's going to be this big old fabulous, no. Looked at me like, oh no, this, she didn't. Come up in here looking what? Fabulous. We ask ourselves, who are we to be fabulous? Who are we to be gorgeous? I tell you what, I took a huge mental note of that. And I even asked her, we was at another of our friend's funeral, and she had her book out showing it to everybody. That's how I know I wasn't in the book. And I definitely wasn't on the internet stuff, you know, Facebook and all that. Well, so I said, how come I'm not in the book? And she got mad. It was like, I'm not finished. Why you getting mad? Because I'm asking you, whether you finish or not, you got about 10, 15 pages worth of pictures in here. I ain't showed up yet. And I'm supposed to be your girl, and I did all that to make sure that I surprised my girl. And that's how I got treated. Well, I knew then that, yeah, this is not really my friend. You knew how I looked when you told me, when you invited me to the party. And I told her I couldn't come because I wasn't driving 10 hours by myself. But because I'm a loyal friend trying to show up for people, I got in that car and drove 10 hours by myself to be at your party. And that is how you treated me. And I'm sure there's no pictures of me in the book even now. And I know I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day who said that when she goes out that, you know, she was with a girlfriend who would always get mad at her because the men would want her. Come on. When we go out and we see a group of men and we say, ooh, I like that one. That's our choice. Well, that's their choice too. You can't go get mad at people because they dress nice and they look nice and they smart. And that is why people shrink. And that is why people say they have the imposter syndrome. I know I'm an imposter. I felt like that. You can't be doing these podcasts after the way you used to act. Somebody gonna bring that up. Well, go on and bring it up. Because the sister done been delivered. In the name of Jesus. And one of the things that bothers me about that, when I snapped and went crazy, you did something. It was a provocation. I didn't wake up in the morning and go left. And they never talk about what they did. It's all about your response. Don't you hate that? Somebody mistreating you, dogging you out, and then you snap and you do something crazy, and that's the whole issue is what you did. They don't say they punched you in the face. They don't say they was cheating on you. They don't say they was lying on you. They don't say that they stole your furniture. They don't say that they stole your money. They don't say that they don't say what they did at all. It's all about trying to deface you. If you ask me if I did it, I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to expose why. So people who talk about Deborah did this and that, I wonder why. And you're mad because I wouldn't let you be my abuser. You know why I was in the shelter? I done told y'all about that. Because I was getting away from an abuser. And some women never leave. This is their plight. Like they owe this man. Like Tina Turner kept on saying, well, I don't want him to feel like everybody's leaving him. And he beating her up and knocking her upside her head. And she feeling bad for him. She bleeding and black eye. And y'all seen the movie, What's Love Got to Do With It? True story. And I appreciated that story. And it made me so sad. And it made me cry. I know I wasn't the only one crying watching that, especially a couple of them scenes, right? And this is supposed to be somebody who loves you. This is somebody who married you. But the signs were already there that he was crazy. But she married him anyway. How you going to take her out the hospital sick, exhausted? I don't care. We need to make this money. If somebody's willing to sacrifice your health for their money, that's not somebody who loves you. That's somebody who's using you to get their money. How dare, and then guilt tripping folk because they're not getting what they want. Again, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Look at what she did when she got rid of that baggage. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And we're worried about what somebody else is going to think about it. We're worrying about we're going to lose our friends. We're worrying about we're going to lose our family members. Who she thinks she is. I remember when she did X. I remember when I did X too, which makes what I wind up doing with my life even more powerful. That's why I don't hide from it, because there's some kid out here who everybody gave up on, said they wasn't going to be and wasn't going to do. And then that kid says, hey, I know somebody who was in my situation and she grew up to become a lawyer. She grew up to preach the word of God. She grew up to become a teacher. She grew up and became a chaplain. She grew up and became a track coach. She grew up and became very empathetic for people because she understood how it felt. I was in the bank just yesterday and this man went off and just started cursing out one or the other, not to tell her, but I was back there in the room. And this other man was in the room and he came out cussing and screaming. So the lady got up and came over to us and said, I apologize for that. And she started telling us the story. And I said, if that man was giving you a death certificate, then somebody died. And if this man just experienced a death, he's just going through something right now. And, you know, he just probably snapping on everybody. And the way she was telling the story, I thought he had lost his wife. So I said, this man had lost his wife, so he's not, he ain't going to be the same. He's going to have a little different reaction. And then she said, no, it was his mother. That's even worse. Well, I don't know, depending on who you're asking. But I think losing a parent and losing a child are the worst losses that we can experience, in my opinion. Some people have spouses that they really, really loved and they've been with forever, and that feels worse. So again, it depends on who you're asking. But the point was, this man had just lost his mama. That's probably not how he would have normally responded. But he just lost his mom. He don't want to hear all that. He gonna snap. Everybody handles stuff differently. So when she left, the guy who was helping me said, are you a believer? And I said, yes. Why did you ask me that? And he said, because of the empathy that you had for that man. And when you done went through, you want empathy, so you give it. I'm very empathetic because life is not a game. Life is deep. Life will be knocking you upside your head today and blessing you tomorrow. And then as soon as you start celebrating the blessing, it's knocking you upside your head again. So I want to make sure that I'm living my best life. And if somebody else doesn't like that, that's not on me. Your playing small does not serve the world. Your playing small does not serve the world. Your playing small does not serve the world. How is somebody going to know that they can come out of that nonsense and go do something good for other people? If you notice, all of my professions are professions of service. A lawyer is helping people. A chaplain is helping people. A teacher is helping people. A track coach is helping people. I have always been a person of service because that is what we are called to do. And another thing I want you to notice about all those professions is all of them requires me to talk. Anybody who knows me know I can talk. Lawyers got to talk. Teachers got to talk. Preachers got to talk. I like talking, especially when I'm compassionate. I won't say I like talking. I'll say I don't have a problem with talking. One of my girlfriends was cracking up when her cousin asked her, why is she so quiet? And she's just laughing her head off like this girl is far from being quiet. Well, I was quiet because the conversation didn't interest me. And I was quiet, and I'm quiet when I don't know about the subject matter because I'm listening so I can learn. But when it's about something that I'm passionate about and I know something about, oh yeah, I'm all up in that. I'm in that. I'm in a conversation about God. I'm in a conversation about racism. I'm in a conversation about relationships because those are the things that have impacted my life the most. Oh yeah, I'm going to tell a woman to get out of an abusive relationship because I was in one, and I can compare my life to the life of somebody who didn't get out, who died early, who looked like they're 900 years old. I don't look my age. My life showed up on my face. I would be looking 90. But God blessed me, and it doesn't because I kept living and I kept manifesting his glory. I immersed myself in the word of God, and I immersed myself into learning how to have a relationship with God, not just running around quoting the Bible, where I'm hearing from God. He's guiding me. He's leading me. And then that helps others like it did in the courtroom that day. Hey, you're not going to win, but she going to just come give you the keys. She done found some other man who want to run the country, and she want to roll with him, and she don't know what to do with these kids. So she just gave them to the father. Now, I didn't know that's how it was going to go down. I didn't know why he couldn't get him yet. Neither one of us saw him losing his job. Neither one of us saw him losing his house. And now he has a new wife. He has all these programs going on for kids. He raised his kids, and he is living a good life after he got rid of all these problems. So it's on both sides. You got raggedy women and you got raggedy men. And the men have to survive the raggedy women just like women have to survive the raggedy men. Now, if you with somebody who's suppressing you and trying to keep you down, I've been with them. Almost married one. And then I was like, yeah, you're going to be miserable if you with this dude. And ain't nothing about nobody that I'm going to stay with them, male, female, family, friend, or foe, that I'm going to be miserable after all the crap I've already been through in life. No, ma'am, no, sir. I want some peace. I want some joy. I want some fun. And that's what I'm going to have. You know why? Because I'm going to let my light shine. Because I'm not going to shrink. Because there's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Take them with you. Them girls who was dogging me because I had straight A's, I graduated with straight A's. With two majors and two languages, Hebrew and Greek, the full year of both. Come to my house. Let me show you how to study. Let me teach you how to be a student. That's what I'm good at. I can teach you. This girl was getting F's and D's on her science class. This is in a whole nother school. And she said, you supposed to be my friend, girl. Why you ain't giving me the answers? I said, what do you mean? She said, you got to have the answers to the test because you the only one getting an A. Everybody else failing and you getting an A. You should play it smart and try to get some of them wrong and all this kind of. I was like, really? So you accusing me of cheating because you getting F's. Not because I'm getting F's, but because everybody getting F's. You supposed to be my girl. You hook me up with the test. I know you got the test. I said, why don't you come to my house Saturday? I invited 4 of them. One came. I said, I'm going to teach you how I'm getting A's on these tests and the work I'm putting in. So one of them came, telling me she can't come because she going to go to the mall. I was like, really, the mall going to be there? We ain't going to be in here all day? No, I need you to come, especially this one, because this one was the one who I was closest to, who was like, I can't believe you ain't getting ready to hook me up, right? So I asked her to come to my house, and I sat down with her, and I showed her what I was doing. You know what she said? Girl, ain't nobody doing all that. I said, exactly. I'm willing to put the work in. I have always believed that unless you have some mental disorder that or teaching, learning disability, I've always believed the difference between an A student and an F student is time. Put the time in and you can learn what you want to learn. She said, I ain't doing all that. I said, well, I am. Sit here with me for a minute. Just sit here. Do it. So you can prove to yourself that you are a good student. So she stayed, and I showed her what I was doing. She got a B on the test. Now she hugging me, girl, I'm so sorry. I should have known better, and da-da-da. Well, put the time in. Now, what if I had shrunk and said, well, I'm not getting no A's no more. I'm going to play dumb. Instead of helping her, she would have never passed the class because I didn't shrink. And I said, I'm going to continue to be who I am. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And you do it. And you ain't nothing wrong with your brain. You got the same brain I got to some extent. So, hey, you're going to do well too. She could have got an A, but she didn't wait and finish the whole thing that I was doing. But she stayed long enough to get a B. And she couldn't even believe it herself. She was like, man, I knew that stuff. And she said some of the ones that I got wrong, I changed the answer because I doubted myself. Now, we've all done that, right? So she could have got an A. She was 3 questions away from having an A. So what if I had shrunk and started playing dumb so that I could fit in? Not going to happen. Read The Deepest Fear poem and get that in your spirit. Because it's a beautiful poem, it's a powerful poem, and we all know people who are shrinking so that they can fit in. If that's you, stop it. Because you need to magnify your glory of God that is within you and help somebody else magnify theirs. How you going to help them when you done dialed it back? Don't dial it back, turn it up. And be fabulous, be brilliant, be talented, be gorgeous. Because you are. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has God within them. Are you pulling that up? Are you shrinking from it? Or are you allowing your light to shine? Let your light shine so you can consciously and unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Peace and blessings in the name of Jesus, and keep aiming high. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the AIM podcast. We hope you have takeaways to help you effectively aim. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Deborah A. Borges 1. Also, be sure to visit our website at deborah.aborges.com to schedule events and request coaching or training. If you'd like to support the podcast, contributions are greatly appreciated through Zelle, Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. We look forward to having you back next week for another exciting episode of AIM. Until then, take care and keep aiming high.